Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today, the village of Emmerdale is no stranger to explosive confrontations, but nothing could have prepared viewers for the dark and devastating scenes that unfolded after Robert Sugden finally walked out on Kev. What began as a heated argument soon spiraled into violence, pulling Aaron Dingle straight into the line of fire and leaving the community shaken to the core. The breaking point came when Robert, after weeks of manipulation, jealousy, and emotional turmoil, made the decision fans had been begging him to make. He walked away from Kev for good. Their relationship had become a toxic storm, fueled by Kev's insecurity and need for control. Robert, desperate to reclaim a sense of peace and protect those he cared about, packed a small bag and headed straight to the Dingles. But while Robert may have been ready to move on, Kev was not prepared to let go so easily. Consumed by rage and terrified of losing the only person he believed he had left, Kev stormed after Robert, determined to drag him back. But he didn't find Robert. Instead, he found Aaron, Robert's closest ally, confidant, and the person Kev had always seen as the biggest threat. And in the heat of the moment, that toxic mix of jealousy and abandonment became a dangerous spark. Aaron, doing what he always does, tried to de-escalate the situation. He told Kev that Robert needed space, that chasing him would only make things worse. But Kev wasn't listening. His eyes were wild, his breathing heavy, his anger absolutely blinding. And before Aaron had time to react, Kev snapped, launching at him with terrifying force. The attack was brutal and chilling. Kev shoved Aaron hard against the wall of the scrapyard, throwing punches with little control. Aaron, caught off guard and refusing to hurt Kev by fighting back, tried to shield himself, but Kev kept going. He accused Aaron of taking Robert away, of turning him against him, of ruining everything. It was a frightening outpouring of months of bottled-up paranoia. The moment that truly shook viewers was when Aaron fell to the ground after a heavy blow to his jaw. For a split second, it seemed Kev might stop, but instead, he doubled down, the emotional storm inside him completely overriding reason. It was only when Cain Dingle appeared, having heard the shouting, that Kev stumbled back. Realizing what he had done, seeing the horror in Cain's eyes, Kev froze. Aaron, bleeding and dazed, insisted he was fine, classic Dingle stubbornness, but Cain wasn't fooled. He helped Aaron up and made sure someone called the police. Kev, panicked and shaking, tried to apologize, repeating over and over that he didn't mean it, that it just happened, but the damage was done. Both physically and emotionally. News of the assault spread through the village like wildfire. Robert, when he heard what had happened, rushed straight to Aaron, guilt tearing through him. He blamed himself entirely. If he hadn't walked out, if he hadn't pushed Kev to the edge, Aaron would never have been caught in the crossfire. But Aaron, even with bruises forming and pain etched into his face, refused to let Robert take responsibility. Kev made his own choices, he insisted, though deep down the betrayal stung more than he let on. The emotional fallout didn't end there. Kev's arrest later that day marked a dramatic turning point. For months, viewers watched him spiral, but this was the moment that proved he had crossed a line he couldn't step back over. The consequences were unavoidable, and for the first time, Kev seemed to realize just how far he had fallen. But what truly made the episode stand out was the raw vulnerability that followed. Aaron, alone in the quiet of the night, finally allowed himself to crumble. The attack triggered memories from darker chapters of his life, times when he felt powerless, cornered, and hurt by someone he trusted. The writers gave fans an emotional, heartbreaking look into Aaron's inner world as he tried to process yet another traumatic event. Robert, too, struggled. When he returned to check on Aaron, their conversation was filled with pain, regret, and unresolved history. Old wounds resurfaced, new fears formed, and fans couldn't help but wonder whether this incident might be the thing that eventually pulls Robron back together, or pushes them further apart. Meanwhile, Kev sat alone in a police interview room, the weight of his actions finally catching up with him. He had lashed out in the worst way possible, and now he faced severe consequences. His assault on Aaron was not just a moment of rage, it was a reflection of his unraveling mental state, something the show appears ready to explore further. By the episode's end, Emmerdale had delivered one of its most gripping, emotionally charged evenings of the year. The assault left physical scars, but the emotional ones may take far longer to heal. With Robert now distancing himself completely, Aaron trying to stay strong for everyone else, and Kev facing the fallout of his violence, the stage is set for dramatic weeks ahead. Will Kev get the help he needs? Will Aaron confront the trauma this attack stirred up? And could this be the catalyst that forces Robert to finally choose where his heart truly lies?